What if the future isn't being planned in public, but built in private? Somewhere out there, a hidden race is already underway, quiet, well-funded, and moving faster than anyone admits. Not to win a war, not to win an election, to win survival. Because the most powerful people on Earth have looked at the data and made a decision. Don't fix the world, outrun it. Not with rockets alone, with laboratories that mimic climates, with cities designed to float above collapse, with simulated continents running in server farms. A second Earth isn't a dream anymore. It's a deadline, and the countdown has already started. You won't find the full plan on a website. You'll find fragments pressed into budgets, patents, launch manifests, research grants, and euphemisms like resilience initiatives and off-world infrastructure. But stitched together, it forms a map. Not a map of nations, a map of escape routes. One route points upward: orbital habitats, rotating cylinders, artificial gravity. Another route points outward: moons, asteroids, engineered colonies. And the most seductive route points inward: digital Earths so accurate you can test tomorrow before it arrives. A mirror world built to predict, to rehearse, and to replace. Earth 2 isn't one project. It's many projects, all converging on the same conclusion: we need a second option. The first version of Earth 2 doesn't require a rocket. It requires a model. A planet rebuilt as computation, oceans, storms, cities, supply chains, migration patterns, all living inside a simulation that never sleeps. A digital twin designed to answer questions like, what happens if the jet stream shifts? If crops fail in 3 regions at once? If a coastal city collapses in a single season? And then more quietly, who gets rescued first? Because a perfect digital Earth doesn't just forecast weather. It forecasts human behavior. It shows where people will run, where resources will break, where violence will erupt. And in boardrooms, lit like command centers, the future becomes a dashboard, not a mystery, a strategy. The second version of Earth 2 is physical, built where no one can vote against it. Terraforming isn't just science fiction anymore. It's a menu of aggressive possibilities. Seed the sky with reflective particles, warm a frozen world with orbital mirrors, reshape soil chemistry with engineered microbes. On Mars, on moons, inside domes, even in orbit. And the truth is, we've already started practicing on our own planet. We adjust rivers. We alter coastlines. We manipulate atmospheres, sometimes intentionally, sometimes as a side effect of profit. Earth taught us the most dangerous lesson of all, that a planet can be changed without asking the people living on it. Earth 2 will be built the same way, by those who can afford the consequences. There's a reason the new architecture keeps reaching upward, because the ground is becoming unreliable. Heat, flood, fire. So the next habitats are designed to detach. Floating districts, offshore arcologies, vertical cities, sealed from the outside air. And above that, orbital neighborhoods where weather is software and gravity is engineered. A city that doesn't sit in a country. A home that doesn't need soil. A society that doesn't require borders. Just access codes, energy, water, and a system that decides who belongs. The promise is safety. The price is separation. And once you build a city that can lift away from Earth's problems, you don't just escape disaster. You escape responsibility. A second Earth needs more than walls and oxygen. It needs balance. So the race has moved into artificial ecosystems, worlds managed by AI that can regulate temperature, recycle water, sustain crops, and prevent collapse before it begins. Not nature as it was, nature as it is supervised. Forests designed like circuits, microbes edited for efficiency, animals replaced with synthetic substitutes, even weather rebuilt as a control variable. And the engineers call it stability. But stability has a darker twin: control. Because in an AI-managed world, the rules aren't written in constitutions. They're written in code. And once code governs air, food, and habitat, politics becomes physics. Disobedience isn't punished. It's unsupported. So who funds Earth 2? Some governments quietly, some militaries strategically, but the fastest money isn't public. It's private. Megacorporations with launch capacity, billionaires with their own research fleets, consortiums that treat the planet like a portfolio, diversify risk, hedge collapse, secure a second asset. And it's never pitched as abandonment. It's pitched as innovation, insurance, humanity's next chapter. But watch where the prototypes are built. Who gets invited? Who gets trained? Who gets a seat at the table before the table becomes a door? Because this race isn't just about building a new Earth. It's about deciding who counts as we. Here's the part no one puts in the promo reels. Access will not be equal. It will be filtered by wealth, by credentials, by utility, by loyalty. Earth 2 will be framed as a lifeboat. But lifeboats have capacity limits, and capacity creates selection. First, it's subtle: exclusive visas, private research city passes, corporate citizenship programs. Then it becomes structural: gated supply chains, protected zones, membership society. And eventually, it becomes normal. A world where survival is not a right, but a subscription. The cruel genius of it is this: no one has to say, only the elite. The system will say it for them, through prices, policies, and prerequisites. When a second Earth becomes plausible, something strange happens to the first one. Investment shifts, urgency drains. The big fixes become too expensive, because now there's an alternative: a shiny exit ramp. And the public plan starts to look like maintenance on a building someone intends to leave. You'll hear it in the language: mitigation instead of transformation, resilience instead of justice, adaptation instead of repair. Earth becomes a place you manage until you don't have to. And if the people with the most power quietly believe they're leaving, then the rest of humanity is left negotiating a future with leaders who have already emotionally checked out. The truth is, Earth 2 won't be a single planet you arrive on. It will be a network of environments, some in orbit, some underground, some on distant rocks, some inside servers. A fractured civilization spread across realms with different rules. One group lives in sealed cities with engineered skies. Another lives in simulated worlds, trading physical risk for digital permanence. Another stays behind, rebuilding the Earth we still have because there is nowhere else to go. And that's the real fork in the road. Not old Earth versus new Earth, but shared future versus divided future. Because the moment you create a place that not everyone can reach, you aren't just building a second Earth. You're building a second humanity. So here's the question at the center of the race: will humanity be saved or sorted? Because every escape plan contains a hidden philosophy. It says, some lives are prioritized, some futures are protected, some people are acceptable losses. And that logic doesn't need cruelty to function. It only needs math, capacity, optimization, risk management, The same tools used to build Earth 2 can also justify leaving Earth 1 behind. And once the idea of selective survival is normalized, it spreads into everything: healthcare, housing, education, citizenship, until society itself becomes a filter. A quiet machine deciding who gets tomorrow. The secret race to build Earth 2 isn't just a race against time. It's a race against our own instincts. To flee instead of fix, to divide instead of unite, to protect the future for a few instead of fight for it for all. A second Earth might someday exist. But right now, the most important question isn't where we'll live next. It's who we decide to be before we leave. Because if we carry the same inequalities into a new world, we won't be building Earth 2. We'll be rebuilding the same mistakes, with better technology and fewer witnesses.